Hello Taurus, this is your extended reading. So let's continue from where we stopped in the first part. So remember the mother or the motherly figure that was coming through, kind of interfering, just introducing herself in the middle of your tracks, right? Or in the middle of your path, and kind of sidetracking a little bit, right? When they are trying to remind you of something that, touches a very soft spot in your heart that is not related to something that, it's almost like there is something very delicate, right? That is embedded in your emotional body that they want to make you not experience it again, but just remember, right? Because I feel like in your equation of just moving ahead, straightforward, very objectively, just going for it, right? It's like you and moving very fast. That is also something very important in your reading, Taurus. It's like you are in an incredible momentum, right? But essentially what they're saying is that it really doesn't matter how fast you're moving ahead. This will always be present, right? Because it's a memory of yours, right? So it's almost like embedded in your waters, right? In your emotional body. And this is not something that you can just dry out and forget about it and take out of the equation like you're doing, despite your incredible clarity, your incredible knowing, it's almost like your master ability to follow an instinct or follow an insight, right? But doing so very concretely, very maturely. Well, because we're talking about the Nine of Pentacles, right? So it's like you have been building this path maybe for a little bit of time, right? So there is experience, there is know-how, there is expertise. It's like you have matured in building this path, right? So everything that it's almost like you know what to do and what you have to keep on doing to keep on, well, confirming or reaffirming your independence, right? But this speed bump is being put there by this Queen of Cups because they don't want you to forget something that is emotionally important that you remember. And I feel like despite the effort of this Queen of Cups, with the Three of Swords starting out the extended, this is, well, there are a couple of things here, okay? So the incredible movement, the incredible speed that you were already showing with the Ace of Swords in the first part, where there was no doubt, there was only certainty and movement, and even like this very bold honesty to say, if you're going, like, to anybody, not just to me as a reader or to this Queen of Cups, right? To anybody that tries to, make their way and create this sort of slowing down in your path, right? It's like you're being brutally honest in saying, like, please don't come like to talk to me something that is not going, it's just going to sidetrack me or to slow me down, because I'm not interested. It's like I already have this direct connection to source, that is the only thing that I trust, that is the only source of information that I let guide me, right? So whenever somebody tries to say anything or tries to interfere in any kind of way, right, it's not an intrusion per se, but I feel like you are interpreting it as that, right? Especially because of this Three of Swords. It's like the Ace of Swords that you were leading is still here, but these two swords, it's almost like even if you left that person talking by themselves, right? Or even if you didn't hear what they have to say, it's like the the grudge that they have, or that like second thought kind of grip on you, right, is still following you. So it's almost like a break to your speed, right? Even if you do ignore the speed bump, it's like it still affects you in some way, right? It's like any sort of interference is acting as a tiny little speed bump. Even if you don't engage with it, even if you do break through, right, is still slowing you down, is still creating some sort of, not anchor, but you know when, what is the name? It's like, you know when athletes are trying to, are practicing or training, you know, when they are running and they have like this bag that is, you know, catching the air, so they have more resistance, right? So it's almost like essentially they're moving forward, but there's something that is holding them and creating this sort of resistance. This is what I'm seeing with the Three of Swords. It's like something that at first felt like free, and you know, there was nothing to keep you from accelerating your movement, right? But essentially, even if you do, you know, go ahead first and, you know, do all of the mental exercise to prove that you're strong enough to break through even closed doors, right? Or even interferences that could be potentially damaging, or not damaging, but could hinder you or slow you down, right? There is something that is staying with you, right? There is something, but because I feel like their interference or their, however this Queen of Cups is coming in contact with you to remind you of anything, it's like they are making you see or making you remember something that it's still like an unresolved issue, right? This is why is like that tiny little doubt is still with you, right? Despite your clarity, your incredible knowing, right? And the reason for that is because this person is significant to you. So even though you are following your own knowing, your own clarity, your own essence guiding you, right? It's like your intuition is giving you all of the steps that you have to follow. But there is some sort of deep connection or bond with this one that means a lot to you, right? So you're not completely ignoring it, but the way that you're doing so, it's almost like, and it's not that the cause for your slowing down is because of the speed bump, right? It's like the speed bump is like a gentle reminder that there's something that was left behind that is still unresolved, right? So because it will follow you and create this resistance, right? This is talking about, this reminder is not an interference. It's actually something that before you go any further, you have to resolve before you continue, right? So with the Five of Cups here, this is the reminder. It's like maybe you, Taurus, were a participant or were part of a significant group or a significant family, a significant relationship with the Six of Cups, and you were the one who left. And this Five of Cups here is talking about going back to occupy the space in this relationship or in this memory or in this kind of it's like this situation that holds some sort of emotional grip on you, right? It's like take back your seat. Actually, this is what this card is talking about, the Seven of Pentacles. When this card came through, I saw this table, right? This family table, like a dinner with family, right? And there is one seat that is empty, and that is yours, right? This is what is like, this is your empty seat, because it's like you chose to go with a knowing that wouldn't mix with the, it's like the mess of emotions, right? It's like all sorts of um like just emotional turbulence, right? It's like you chose to go with your reason, right? With your mind. And because it was a guiding light, right? And it's part of your essence, your truth, who you believe you are and who you believe you want to become, right? So there's nothing wrong with that choice. It's just that in leaving this seat behind empty, it's like this family was not complete, right? Or this table was not complete. Obviously, this is just a metaphor, even though, you know, this could have, you know, potentially happened literally for you, Taurus, but it's a metaphor for like conveying the message of, if you belonged to an incredibly emotional, deep connection, right? As being part of a family, right? And suddenly you went off going for your own path, your own independent, like self-discovery path, I want to say. But you left and your place was still there, right? That is the reason why I'm saying it feels like this unresolved issue, right? But it doesn't matter how far you go or how fast you go away from this, right? It's like the speed bump, right, is acting as this like this remembrance, right? Or maybe there is somebody specifically, like because of the motherly figure that came from the Queen of Cups. So maybe this Queen of Cups is part of this group, right? And it's almost like they miss you. They want you to take your seat, right? Because you're missed, right? Your presence is missed. And this is actually beautiful because I feel like you do, well, remember when I was talking about that the Three of Swords had a couple of things in it? Well, the first one of it is, it doesn't matter if you really broke through the closed door, right? It still continued to decrease your speed. It's still like the that constant thought of, maybe I should have stopped, maybe I should have thought about it, maybe I should have, you know, remembered that. And like all of this coming back to you. I'm going to get to the Queen of Swords in a bit, but this Three of Swords is also talking about, like, maybe there is fear in, if you lose your speed, it will mean that you will have to lose, in a sense, all of the freedom or all of the connection with your essence, your strength, your truth, because you're going to open something that you closed long ago, right? And maybe back then you didn't have all of the reassurance that now you have, right? So I feel like somehow this is talking about the fear to unlock, or to, because it's not locked actually, it's like to just open something that could maybe change your path, right? If we're talking about a huge transformation and it's almost like you are happy, you are proud of where you're going, of what you built. So changing your path right now because of something that, you know, is coming from the past, maybe something that you don't want to experience again, right? So this is the other thing that came through with the Three of Swords. But even if you do break through because you are avoiding it, I feel like it's still there with you, slowing you down, right? And eventually you will come to the understanding with the Queen of Swords here that whatever it is that this Queen of Cups is trying to remind you from this place of love, right? They're coming through as this caring, loving person, right? Like a mother, right? So when you are trying to stubbornly continue on your path with the Knight of Swords, right, and break through despite their, and it's not a warning, right, it's like it's like a gentle reminder, right? So when it stays with you, right, and inevitably it slows you down, right? And it's not because you're losing momentum, it's just because you're not growing or you're not accelerating in this continuous movement that you were before, right? And it's not that you are slowing down, it's just that you're not increasing and increasing and increasing your speed, you see? But there comes a time when you understand or you see clearer that whatever it is that these two cards we're talking about, right? Belonging in a place, belonging in a relationship, in a family where you had your own place, you had your own seat, and you suddenly just went on your own way, right? It's like you can see it from a different perspective with a different mindset. And this is where it gets a little bit more like profound, let's say. Because if the first part was all about you moving ahead, you going in a certain direction, and it's like moving forward and forward and forward, and well, maybe we are talking about you know, like building something outwardly, right? Materially, maybe building your career, building your financial stability, whatever it is, but it's all outwardly focused. When you come to your senses in a way that you know that the longer you avoid this, it's like the more the resistance will affect you, right? The more the fear will slow you down eventually, right? It's like maybe because this memory, it's like coming like into clarity for you too. It's almost like you see that your place is still there, right? It's still, what is the word? Cherished, right? This is what I'm seeing. It's like your place is cherished and is missed, right? But it's like it's being kept for you whenever you want to return, right? And the more you see this clearly, I feel like your intention to come back, right, to your old world, I have to say, it's going to allow you like a bigger breakthrough than the one that you were, you know, maybe stubbornly trying to keep on going with when you confronted yourself with this first speed bump of the death card, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because we have these three powerful major arcana here at the end. So the more you think about it, the more this remembrance is coming into full clarity for you, right? As the Queen of Swords, it's like you know that there is no way to avoid it. Somehow, it's like this outward focused movement, it will have to shift to come back to this internal analysis or consideration, right? Because of the Hermit, then the Lovers, and the World card. So let's go one by one. This Hermit card was talking about, yes, it's like if you found the way out and this was very solid, the way inward is very structured, is very solid, is very stable too, right? And I feel like because at the bottom of the deck we have the 10 of Cups, so this, it's almost feeling like, you know, if this was the closed door that you didn't want to open, I'm now seeing that this door is like the front door or something like that, right? Your house where you lived with your family, and, you know, taking your seat back includes, you know, coming face to face with this closed door that maybe you closed or that you shut very quickly not to think twice before you continued on your path. So this is essentially representing like this home or this safe place, this sacred, safe place of a home that maybe you haven't been there for a while, right? And I feel like there is a reason why you're coming back right now because of this lover's card. This card was talking about relationships meaningful enough that they are mirrors. And I'm not saying that every single relationship in our lives are mirrors, but you know, people that are really significant to you, especially if we are talking about people in your family, right? That maybe you haven't seen for a while because you were on this very independent path. There is something about coming back home to a place where you feel like you are, well, there is a lot of like cherished moments, cherished memories, things that you have learned in this place that it's like you do put in like in a very high standard. It's like this is part of also like the basis upon which you started this independent path, right? So I feel like it's like whenever you went out first, it's like this gathering together with family members, with people that are significant to you. It's like you were taught a lot, right? You learned from, you know, these relationships. And these relationships now, well, because these are three major arcana, like, you know, coming one after the other, I feel like there is a lot that you can gain again, because whenever you see yourself reflected back, you know, when you're face to face with them, it's like confronting yourself with your old world, but in a way that the reflecting image, it's not that, what is the word? That different, right? It's like maybe you're feeling like if you go back, you know, those people are not going to have the same life experience that you had, right? So maybe it's not that you're putting them, you know, down or anything like that, but you're so convinced of everything that you have learned on your own when you set off like to go on your own path, that maybe it's like you're just not considering the possibility that when you go back home, you're going to see the same level of deep, meaningful resonance with these people that have also matured, that have also like it's almost like the bond is tighter than ever, the bond is stronger than ever, even if you are confronting an old world where you freed yourself from a long time ago, right? And I feel like this is like this major breakthrough, really, that it's okay. Oh my god. Okay, so under this 10 of cups that was in the bottom, we have the Magician and the Hierophant. And well, this is it. It's like this confrontation, it's not a confrontation, right? It's like you have learned so much about yourself that you are shining and you are just exuding all of this magic, all of this brightness, right? It's like you are carrying your essence. It's like you are the sun, right? So you are exuding all of this light. So confronting all of the people that were authorities at home, right? Instead of being something that you would see as very different or very, you know, in unbalanced kind of hierarchy, right? It's like it's nothing like that. It's like both authorities or both life experiences or both levels of maturity and knowledge and wisdom are valued mutually, right? Are perceived mutually and recognized and valued and just cherished. It's like cherishing everything that you have accomplished on your own and vice versa, right? Even though this is here. Even though you went on your own and they stayed, right? It's like, well, I guess this is because there's a lot of love right? And you coming back to take your seat, Taurus, in this table, like in this family, this is such a meaningful thing for not only you, but all of those who were still at the table even when you left, right? Maybe expecting or wishing that you would return one day. And now that you are just receiving this understanding that maybe now's the time to do so, it's like what you are trying to do to break through that, you know, with all of your independent, straightforward strength, right? Your mindset was just, you know, very objectively focused in winning this sort of obstacle, right? Or breaking through despite any kind of pressure or resistance, right? But when you do come back, or when you do gather, right, instead of just going, it's like when you do focus inwardly to assess emotional things that, you know, were still unresolved completely, right? This breakthrough happens, but happens at home, you know, happens in your old world, in your old neighborhood, in your old world, in a sense where it's like going back to the beginning in a sense, but with a whole new respect, even, right? From others, from your family, and from yourself, right? It's like seeing yourself as this grown-up being or this mature being, and seeing how your growth is also reflected in the growth of all of those who remain there, right? I hope this makes sense, Taurus. So yeah, let's see what the astrological, I always forget about the astrological runes because I feel like I'm just so intensely into the message of the cards that I, you know, sometimes I do forget about this. So let's see what the astrological runes have to add as a final guidance for you. Oh, yeah. Okay. So just another confirmation coming from the runes, right? The sun rune, just reminding me of the power of your own self guidance, right? You listening to your own intuition, to your essence, allowing it to guide you, following all of the steps that are right and that are shining your own light. It's like in doing this, like in dealing with this speed bump, and let the decrease in speed or this slowing down movement to assess something that, you know, was left behind, it's not going to diminish or decrease your light. It's like that is the reason why I'm saying, and I just love when these things happen, because they're just confirming to me that the breakthrough that you were expecting to achieve on your own, to prove in a sense that you could do it right on your own, is like giving way to this speed bump to do its thing, right? To change you in the way that is going to provide you an even stronger breakthrough. It's like this is even more empowering. It's like it's showing you that the guidance that you had in the beginning, it hasn't stopped. It hasn't lost its brightness or its ability to show you the way, right? It's like it's always showing the way, even when you're not moving forward as you thought you were going to move, you know, endlessly forward, right? Or with no sort of sidetracks. So this is part of it, right? This is part of the self-guidance, and I feel like you know it. You do know it, and I feel like that is the reason why you accept and you go back and you take your seat around the table with those people that are, you know, taking you back to that memory, to that emotional remembrance. So you know it and you are trusting it because of your clear knowing, because of your incredible connection to this source, to this bright essence of yours, right? That is always guiding you, even when you are invited to slow down. Let's put it that way. So I hope this was insightful to you, Taurus. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.